submit your brackets right now. Let's go to the men's tournament. 12 seed High Point delivered the low point of 5 seed Wisconsin season yesterday, pulling the massive upset over the Badgers. 83-82 was the final there. A layup by Chase Johnson with 11 seconds left gave High Point coach Flynn Clayman some strong words post-game. Listen.
It's pretty obvious to me that something needs to be done about this non-conference scheduling. High Point and Miami, Ohio are 2-0 in quad one games. We couldn't get games. They couldn't get games. Akron couldn't get games. UNCW couldn't get games. Belmont couldn't get games. We won 22 of our last 23 games, and we didn't move up one spot in the metrics. Not one. We won 22 of our 23. We've won 25 games by double digits. That team right there is a fantastic team that beat 5 top 10 teams. If we can get games like this on neutral courts and some home games, I think we'd know who's really the best teams. I'm proud of these dudes, and we're not just here to win one game. We're here to get to the Sweet 16.
I love this so much on so many levels. Coach Flynn came in. That was him post-game. And it feels like he has a very strong point here, Coach Greenberg, considering the metric we use a lot is strength of schedule for this tournament. Your thoughts?
Well, I love the guy as a coach, and I understand where he's coming from. I've been in that seat. I understand how hard it is as a mid-major, but it's not a high major's job to schedule games to help a mid-major. It's everyone schedules in the best interest of themselves. So like Coach Clayman, yeah, he wants more opportunity to play high Division I teams. But you know what? Some guys are going to do what's in their best interest. So I understand where he's coming from. I respect that. You know what? They're a really good basketball team. They got 2 6th-year guys. They got 3 5th-year guys. They're an old, mature, tough, talented team, and he's a talented coach. But it's not you can't legislate, well, the high majors have to play High Point or the high majors have to play Akron. They're going to play who's in their best interest. And that's just the way it is. Now, if they can get in a multi-team event and get an opportunity to play those games, no one's going to High Point to play a game. First of all, you can't afford to go to High Point to play a game. Of course, most high majors can't give up a home game. Now, it's an NIL game and it's a neutral court game, and then you can create revenue out of that, especially if you're collective. That's different. But when you're a high major, you schedule in your best interest, no different than Coach Clayman's trying to schedule in his best interest to build his non-conference resume.
So I'm still trying to kind of figure out what the problem is here, because at first I started to associate it with college football, where you'd have these big programs, maybe somewhere in the SEC, which would have the conference schedule. And then when you step outside of the SEC, you schedule a bunch of nobodies to build up your overall record, which I know we've talked about before. Penn State, my alma mater, notorious for this. I don't think they played a real game until Oregon, which was like a month into the season, but that's neither here nor there. So I think some people like myself, when you hear this from Coach, you're thinking, okay, well, maybe these big programs aren't scheduling these guys because they're worried or they want to pad their stats. Just to look at Duke, when they stepped outside of conference this year, Texas, Kansas, Arkansas, Florida, Michigan State, Texas Tech. So it's not like Duke is going out of their way to avoid good competition when they go outside the ACC. Gonzaga played Alabama, Michigan, Kentucky, and Oklahoma outside of their conference, which is viewed as one of the softer ones relative to somebody like the SEC. So I don't necessarily know what can be done here, because on one hand, you have a coach saying no one's going to schedule us, but on the other hand, I'm seeing big-time programs scheduling other big-time programs.
But not mid-majors. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, but, yeah, here's the deal, Joe. You want to play high majors, all right, basically quad 1 opportunities, or you want to play quad 4 opportunities to people that you can beat by 100, all right, because you don't want to risk potentially getting a quad 2 or a quad 3 loss. So basically, those games you just mentioned that all these schools are playing, yeah, you play those and you play good on good. You play good on good because win or lose, it's going to help build your resume. On the other hand, if you risk and say play a High Point, you're never going to High Point. That's not happening. But if you play a High Point and you lose that game, that becomes a quad 2 or quad 3 loss, and that's held against you in terms of not only you, but your conference. See, because people don't understand, you schedule, you're building your conference resume as well.
That's a good point. Stephen A.?
Couple of things. Number one, Coach Joe, as y'all know, I went to an HBCU. I went to Winston-Salem State University. It's High Point. Believe it or not, just to give you a little history about me, one of my first jobs in the business was as an editorial assistant for the High Point Bureau of the Greensboro News and Record newspaper. That's where I started out my career.
Come a long way, Stephen.
After I graduated. The Bureau was right on Main Street, right down the block from High Point University. I haven't been to the High Point area in decades, but all I've been hearing in recent memory, I can't believe I'm hearing this. People have been saying, have you seen the campus at High Point? It's
Beautiful.
sensational. It's immaculate. All I ever thought about High Point was it's the furniture capital of the world. You want some furniture? That's where you go. You go to High Point, North Carolina. I knew nothing about the damn campus until a few days ago. Now all I've been hearing about is how spectacular their campus is. So it got me wanting to go down there and see the damn campus. So let me get that out the way. Here's the part that I think that both of you are missing with what Coach Flynn was talking about. Yeah, the majors, they're going to sit up there and schedule going up against other major programs because, like you said, Coach, they don't want to risk a loss to a quad 2 or 3 team or something like that. I got that part, right? Just like I get where Joe is coming from when he's saying, damn, it's so to see, like, what can you do? Because they are scheduling people on their schedule because they know that kind of stuff matters, and it's not like they're ducking anybody. That's true. I think the part that y'all are missing, though, is Coach Flynn is looking at us. Here we are with the national television airwaves, Coach. We've got national platforms, and we're not giving mid-majors any credit. He's looking at somebody like Miami that goes 31-0 and then loses a game in their tournament, and we've got the Joe Fortenbars of the world and others saying, stay your ass home. You don't need to be there. You don't deserve to be there. Who did you play? Who did you play? Who did you play? And it's not that Joe's wrong. What they're saying is, damn, there are people who are avoiding us. There are people who are not giving us the opportunity to showcase what we bring to the table. And then the national profile, those programs who get it, they get the automatic bids, or they get the shine and the sizzle and the push where they end up getting in an NCAA tournament, and it's at our expense. What about us? Because we're out here competing, trying to make the most of whatever little opportunities we get to showcase what we do. And there's very little room for error because North Carolina can lose a few games, or Duke can lose a few games, or Michigan can lose a few games, or Florida can lose a few games. And they're going to be just fine. We're going to gloss over that, and we're going to find a way to push them into the NCAA tournament. But us, if we pass gas, it might be cause to leave us out of the tournament. We don't think that's fair. So when I think about it from what he's saying, I'm saying to myself, he's making a compelling argument, not about the NCAA, but about us and our willingness to say, hey, they deserve a chance. Don't do that to them. You make sure, because they ain't running from anybody. They do want to play these other programs. They do want their shots at the crown. And if they don't get it, especially when it's through no fault of their own, they shouldn't suffer the consequences of that by being omitted from the dance in March, especially in a 68-team field. I get that argument. I truly do. I'm empathetic to that argument, especially from the seat that I sit in. And I think it's important that any of us that have a national platform hears Coach Flynn on that point and support his argument in that regard.
Complaints are fair. Complaints are justified. No argument against it. One thing I would say, I'm not going to look to solve that problem at the risk of breaking up Duke versus Kansas, because we don't want to see those two go head-to-head. I want big on big and then figure it all out down the line.
Sure. So then when it comes time for Selection Sunday, let's all keep in mind strength of schedule is not always as it appears, because some of these mid-majors aren't able to play the big boys like they have been wanting to in years past.
Miami of Ohio should have been left out. I'm standing on business.
Real life.
I hope they win a first-round tournament game so you can be quiet. Coming up on First Take, Luka went off last night while Wemby called game. Which star player would we want right now on our team? We'll tell you next.